Good morning. This is the weekend update for Buy Sell Short for Saturday, December 28th. We're starting off with the 15-minute chart on the Dow, and you can see just rather remarkable over the last 2 weeks. We are up 600 plus points. Essentially, we've gone vertical since that big Fed up move and have just slowly moved ever higher. And this is about the only trend line I can draw on the 15-minute chart right now. We had a little bit of weakness on Friday. Not overly surprising given the extent of the move we've had recently. And, we are in store for a pullback, but when that happens is the big question. And looking at the 15-minute chart, we are about to get a positive MACD cross. We've got stochastics on the up move. So just looking at this chart, Monday could see a little bit of a bounce back, or we could see a little bit of a pullback. I know that's really not saying much, but the chart says we could go higher. We are entering the last 2 days of the year. Could be a lot of window dressing, or we could see a lot of profit taking like we saw on Twitter on Friday. So it's kind of up in the air. But really, for the next couple of weeks, we don't really care what the large cap stocks do because this is small cap season right now. And we'll go into that in a little bit. Dow daily chart, possible topping candle up here. We've got RSI over the 70 level, and the last time we've seen RSI over the 70 level, it was back in September, and then we saw about, actually it was a 1,000-point sell-off over the following 2 weeks, just to throw that out there. Dow Transports, a little bit of a topping candle there as well. This is probably the index we pay the most attention to, and if it was to pull back, we've got pretty strong support at the 7,200 levels. Russell, this little blip we saw early last week kind of throws things off, but as I said, we are entering small cap season. This is when small caps outperform. We've got another day of whatever tax selling that's out there. Probably won't be a whole lot, but this Monday and Tuesday, one thing I like to do every year, sometimes it's absolutely dead and you don't see any dips, but sometimes you can see those last few tax sellers hit stocks, and if you do see stocks down pretty decently on no news, especially on the last couple of days of the year, it usually pays to pick them up, so keep a close watch for that on Monday and Tuesday. McClellan Oscillator. Usually when we look at the McClellan Oscillator, we look at it as a bottoming indicator. When we get down in the 50 levels, we could see a bounce. When we get down in that negative 80, 90 level, a bounce is 99% going to happen. Kind of similar thing when we get up in this 50-60 zone, we tend to see a little bit of a pullback in the major indices. So, we've got some things lining up where we could see a pullback in the large cap stocks early in the year. But again, as I said, our emphasis is going to be on small cap stocks. A little bit of a disappointment on STEM on Friday. We got some news that they filed a $100 million shelf. Kind of surprising, seeing as they just did a month or so ago a financing. But, oftentimes shelves don't mean companies are going to sell the stocks. They just sit it out there, and when they're ready to sell, they sell. But, we went a little bit cautious. We reduced our position. We were lucky enough to get $1.32, which was, a 10% gain in a few days on that stock. And it pulled back. Doesn't mean this stock is dead. I will be looking to pick this stock and add to positions possibly Monday or Tuesday. Like I said in the email, we were just stepping aside to see what happens and go from there. And, an example of small cap stocks doing what their chart says they're going to do no matter what the hell the news is out there is KIOR. January popper play, hit first target on Friday, up big. And you recall a couple of days ago, this one had bad news. I don't care how you spin it, it was bad news. They're reducing production. Condoleezza Rice resigned as a director. So what does the stock do? It had a nice January popper setup, so it went boom on the positive MACD cross. Just a sign that sometimes too much research can be a detriment in this market. I know some of you guys still held on to this one. Congratulations. Chart looks great. Could see a continuation move over the next couple of days. And another January popper stock that has done great. Couple of new plays. RGDX. Obamacare play. as I went over on the last video. As you can see here, we are right at the cusp of a very big breakout. We've had a seller camped on the ask over the last couple of days, UBSS. Those guys are douchebags when it comes to holding stocks in place. But whenever they finally back off, you typically see the stocks go boom. So just a matter of waiting these guys out. Probably the last little bit of tax selling that's out there. And, 123 is lighted up zone. 137, 151 are the targets on this one. New play on Friday. WaveX, new January popper play, and this is also a CES play. January 7th is the Consumer Electronics Show. Small cap stocks do great into that, and WaveX can typically has big moves into the middle part of January. They are usually at CES, but at partners' booths, and this is a play, as I mentioned, the research is on the website, on the homepage, on the Target credit card breach that we saw last week. If Target was using the technology that WaveX has, that would not have happened. Definitely look at the research. I could spend the next 40 minutes talking about it right now in this video, but aside from that fact, classic January popper setup. Sell-off beginning in November. No real news to talk about. Stock just down. On a positive note, the company did their once a quarter financing a week or so ago, so the financing is out of the way. These guys like to do really small financings when they need the cash. They do about once a quarter. That news is out of the way. Big volume spike on Friday. 95 is probably where we will get chasers. First target is the 50-day moving average at 112. Another thing to keep in mind with WaveX is the big move that we've seen in WYY on government security. Not a lot of people are aware that WaveX is a big player in Homeland Security, Department of Defense Security. NSA uses these guys, and NSA has made a new requirement for 2015 regarding the kind of chips that government uses in their servers. Essentially, they've got to use authentication chips. I believe it's called TPM chips in their servers. And this is what WaveX does. And those 2015 rollout means government agencies are going to be buying in 2014, and contracts are going to be awarded. So couple of interesting angles. Also, Samsung. These guys are talking with Samsung. They've got a 15-year deal with them that they announced in 2012. Could be that WaveX has something coming with Samsung at CES. The CEO on the conference call in November was very cagey. He was saying it was right for investors to pay close attention to what happens with Samsung, that they couldn't talk about it right now, that they hope to start booking revenue soon. So there could be something coming along the lines at CES for WaveX with Samsung. Also, the chart, as I said, looks great. RSI, big bounce here, big volume. Bottom is in on this baby. Stochastics, about to break a downtrend line. Actually did on Friday and about to break up through 20, and we've got a positive MACD cross. All these things say pop in the next few days. Last positive MACD cross on this stock saw it go from $1.10 to $1.42 in a few days. So looks very good going into next week. Rare earth stocks blew up on Friday. MCP, REE up big. QRM is our January popper play. Very nice volume on this one. 50 is the set it free zone. We've got a 57 to 60 cent first target zone on it. Chart looks great. Sector's on fire. Stochastics, on bounce volume. Everything says this should rock and roll next week. STRI. This is another one of my favorite setups for the January popper. Solars and shippers do very well in December and January, and have so over the last few years. Shippers have blown up. They are now retracing a little bit. Solars, I believe, are going to do very well over the next month. STRI trades under cash. Chart looks great. We've got this nice bottoming action in here. Positive MACD cross coming. Stochastics in the basement. Classic sell-off from November, December. I mean, it dropped 50%. A 50% bounce back would take us to the 50-day moving average. And if you've been paying attention to the January popper plays we've been doing, they've all had a magnet towards the 50-day moving average. So we still have 40-cent plus upside on this one in the next couple of weeks. STRI. I redrew the trend line on this one. Again, another classic setup here. It actually popped early last week, Monday, Tuesday, retraced over the last couple of days. This one looks ready to rock and roll. Time to start accumulating this stock if you are not in. First target is 150. That is the 50-day moving average. This one is just curling for a big move. I think it's going to start rocking and rolling next week. A couple of other plays. ISR, our little penny play. Bone. Look what Bone has done over the last few days. Bone up 50% over the course of a week. You can see that sell-off action. And these guys are about to drop a financing on the market. We don't have that similar situation here on ISR. 53 sets it free. And this is stock we could see 25 to 40% upside into the middle of January. CBLI. Again, beating a dead horse here. Classic January popper setup. Late on Friday, we got a big volume spike on this one. Out of the blue, went from $1.13 to $1.23.24. Dipped all the way back down where we picked up some more shares at $1.14, $1.15. This one looks like it's poised for a big move next week. 50-day moving average is 131. Let's see what happens on this one on Monday. UPIP. DSS has been getting all the attention over the last month. DSF up big again the last couple of days. These guys have just started the patent process against Apple. UPIP already had their Markman hearing against Apple in November. Any day we're going to get that decision. And you recall that when OTIV had their Markman results back here, the stock has almost actually tripled since that's happened over the course of a month. I believe this chart and this price zone is something that we are going to see on UPIP sometime in 2014. Looks great. 150 sets it free. Last but not least, quick mention on PTSX 0.60. Low volume, low flow play that we have. Classic January popper setup. Problem with this stock is you got to call it in, which reduces the volume, but it's getting ready for a big upside move here. A close above 60 cents, and we're looking at a retrace back up to 90 cents. So that is, 60%, 50, 60% possible upside on this stock. And when big volume comes in, as it did back in September, this is a stock that can go on huge moves. So this one looks ripe for a move. Keep a close eye on it. That's it for the video, guys. Have an awesome weekend and get ready for January. It's going to be a lot of fun over the next couple of weeks. Have a great weekend. Bye.